Hi, fourth graders. I'm here to give you your lesson. I'm going to go step by step with the directions on how we are going to make our popular culture icon printmaking artwork today. You should have in front of you an image that you've picked of a popular culture item, a piece of styrofoam. This is like your styrofoam plates. If you scratch into it with your fingernails, you will leave indentations, and you do not want to do that. So make sure you keep this neat and clean. You're going to have a pen. You will have a plate with printmaking ink on it that you will be sharing with your neighbor, and 2 pieces of masking tape, one for you, one for your neighbor, something called a brayer, and a few sheets of colored paper. Your first step is to take your image, place it on top of your plate, and secure it with a piece of tape, just at the top. Your next step, we need to trace over all these lines so they indent into your styrofoam. You are pressing firmly to make that happen. Not so much that you cause a hole, but enough that it indents into your styrofoam. You will very carefully go over all these lines and any areas that you want filled in. Wherever the indent is, you will not have any ink. So, for example, on this image, this part was all indented, and therefore the ink just rested on the top of the plate and not in any indentations. After you're done tracing over all your lines, you will take your image off, and you will go over the lines again. Now you can see I've already done this here, so you don't have to wait for me, but you will trace over all the indentations that you made previously. You'll know that you're done because the line will actually show up with the pen. Now, for the printmaking part, let's go over our tools. We have what I said was called a brayer. This is a roller, and it's like the roller you use for painting, but this part is smooth and hard. This will help the ink just lay on the flat parts of the plate. This is your inking plate, and this is your printmaking ink. This is the kind I use. What's nice about this is it's really thick, and we want to use that instead of the paint because it will not go into any of your indents. Alright, this is how you're going to do it. You will share with your friend. You dip and lift the brayer in the ink, and then you will come down to the bottom of your plate. I need just a little bit more there. And you're going to go up and down and side to side. Do not take the brayer and roll it over the entire pile of ink. You will be here for a long time getting it to work, and you don't need that much ink. So I dip, lift, now I'm coming up and down, back and forth. You will be looking and listening for 2 things. You are going to be listening for the sticky. I guess you'll hear some squeaky too. And you're going to be looking for the shiny. If you look at the brayer, you can see that from side to side it's covered in shiny ink. And I can hear that it's nice and sticky. I'm ready to take my ink and roll it carefully on my plate. I'm going slowly. Got to pick up some more ink. Do you see how it's really light there and it's not shiny? That means the ink is dry and it will not work. Wherever I've drawn my lines, I now have an indent, and the ink is not going down into those dents. This is exactly what I want it to look like. When you get all your areas and your plate is shiny, if it's not, you need to ring part of it. Part of mine was not up there. You are ready for your printmaking paper. Now I like to stand up to do this part. With 2 hands, I'm going to hold it over my inking plate. I'll lay it down, and then I need to rub. Get all the edges and the corners. You can make little circles. Sometimes I like to use the back of my hand because I get stuck with the front of my hand. And I can sometimes peel it back just a little bit to peek, to make sure I got the edges and the middle. If I pulled it the whole way, I wouldn't be able to lay it back down. Alright, so this is called pulling a print. We're going to take the paper and we're going to very carefully pull it off and see how we did. This print's not too bad, but I noticed there's a lot of dry areas that I could re-ink better. And that's pretty typical for your first print. So what I want to do is another print. I'll sign my name on this. Put it to the side. And I'm going to do the same steps. I'm going to dip my ink, my brayer into my ink, up and down, back and forth. Now you've noticed that my entire plate is not covered in ink. That's wasteful. You're going to keep it in one area. Remember, you're listening for the tacky, you're looking for the shiny. A lot of times when I print make with kids, we don't get the shiny. You don't get the shiny, it will be light and it won't be a nice, solid, inked plate. So when you think you have all the ink on your plate, you're going to look for the shiny. That looks great, nice and shiny. You're going to take your paper with two hands, line it up, lay it down, and press. What happens if you lay your paper down and you don't like it? Can you pick it back up? No, you will get a messed up image. So once it is laid down, that's where it needs to stay. Remember, you want to get the corners really well and the edges. You can take your peeks. Ooh, this print's going to be a lot better than my first one. Take a peek. That's looking great. It's a little light right in the middle. I'll try to rub that area a little bit more. Alright, I'm ready to pull my print. That turned out great. So you can see this image was inked way better than this one. I think my second print was best, and this is the one I will keep to take home.